Okay, we're live.
A lie.
What's up, everybody? Rob here with NGTV, and I got a guest with me. And introduce yourself.
My name is Ronald.
You guys probably remember him from last time. We haven't streamed live in a while, and it's just like our schedules never match up, but we got it. So I'm gonna let Ron take it from here because he's got a lot to discuss with you guys, and I'm pretty interested in listening in on too. So take it away.
Alright, tech industry. Uh, this is actually kind of a rant video. I'd like to talk about John Legere. Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know, dude. I hear it pronounced so many different ways. Just go with what you know.
Well, the Samsung Knights, they call it John Legere, but I call it John Legere. Um, T-Mobile. I like T-Mobile. I love T-Mobile. They offer the best They offer the best plans and best prices, all the different services like the Un-carrier events and stuff. One thing I can't stand about T-Mobile is where I live. I have absolutely no service. The best out here is Verizon. Um, and John Legere, if y'all remember, if y'all ever caught on to it, he called out Sprint CEO for the bad coverage. Sorry, I have to train my thought. But he called out, what's his name? I don't even remember his name, but he called him out, and I'm sitting here like, dude, he hadn't said anything to you. And so he's kind of like Kurt McMaster, and about Kurt McMaster, he thinks, it's kind of like you explained in your last video, he thinks that he can do everything on his own.
Yeah.
With Cyanogen. He's kind of biting the hand that's feeding him.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. Like when I first heard that whole thing with Cyanogen trying to take Android away from Google and allow third-party users like Bing and Amazon App Store to be used on it, it's like it boggles my mind because you can literally use some of those services on Android already. But for like I don't see why it's so like they're so hell bent on making that like the prime go-to applications and services, and they want to take Android away from Google, which I mean the success Android has had over years can all be summed up with Google's acquisition of them way back in the day. So I get confused on what they're trying to do if they're really trying to kill off like their popularity because Cyanogen it's a high regarded ROM that most people go to compared to other ROMs.
And that's like
I,
me. I was using CM12 on my phone. Now I'm using the Carbon ROM, which is KitKat, because Cyanogen mod's not really stable for the old phones like the S3 yet, so I just kind of went back. And, for example, I mean, I use Bing myself. I use the Amazon App Store sometimes. Like, when Android L was first announced, the new Google keyboard, I got it from the Amazon App Store because it wasn't available on the Play Store yet.
right.
What I don't get is I'm kind of afraid with the newer versions of CyanogenMod, what they're gonna do is like strip all the Google stuff out of it and like somehow make G apps not um compatible with CyanogenMod. Like Bing and Amazon and stuff come standard. Like let's say Android 5.1 or no, not 5.1, like 5.2 comes out and they do that. It's like who's gonna use CyanogenMod anymore? It's like the traffic, not even the traffic, like the usage of CyanogenMod is gonna start decreasing. No one's not gonna really use it anymore.
Right. Especially when you have other developers, other teams of developers out there that are they're still reliant on Google services, and where they're pushing the boundaries of adding in more features and porting features from other smartphones into a ROM that can be widely used across multiple different devices. Cyanogen's really shooting themselves in the foot. That's the way that I see it. I don't think they see it that way, but that surprises me how they're still just on that mission to wrestle Android away from Google. And even when the whole thing came out where Microsoft was going to back them on it, and oh man, it just rolls downhill.
Yeah, it's Cyanogen mod. Like, I know some ROMs won't work right without Google services.
Yeah,
Cyanogen mod, for example, I mean, it will work, but most of the stuff you would want to do require Google services. Yeah,
right.
and then I mean, like you kind of said, and this kind of goes far into it, like other developers and stuff, other ROMs like Carbon ROM, I'm running the Carbon ROM, KitKat. You have Liquid Smooth, Paranoid Android, and everything like that. And most of those ROMs heavily require engine mod. Like they rely on Cyanogen mod. Like for example, the kernel that's on Cyanogen mod or that's on Carbon ROM is powered by Cyanogen mod.
Right.
So it's like Kurt McMaster. He's doing all this stuff with his company. Eventually, I mean, if he wants to get rid of Google and Android completely, not going to be any more. I don't think there's going to be any more custom ROMs. Who knows?
Well, I mean, it'll probably be one of those things where it's like, because like the one thing we've never really seen is like any other strong competition against CyanogenMod. Like you said, most of the other development teams rely on CyanogenMod, especially for a kernel source for their ROMs. But we've never really seen like another developer say like, well, they're gonna go head to head with Cyanogen Inc. And so, but there could be one out there just lurking in the background. So I mean, it's here or there. Like I really wouldn't want Cyanogen to do this. I really would love for them to stick to what they know and just to go on with their projects that they've been doing so far. And to me, it's always been like, well, my thought of them was that they were always trying to bring other Android devices that weren't guaranteed any more updates to at least be able to enjoy the most current versions of Android that come out. But I guess, I guess not. I guess they have other ideas.
Yeah.
But
The prime example. This phone right here came out 2012. KitKat TouchWiz was the last version of Android for this phone before they just killed it off. And this phone already has a lollipop ROM on it. That's what CyanogenMod used to be about.
yeah,
Now they want to do everything by themselves and on their own, and I
and
just don't get it.
I won't even get them either, man. But hopefully something shakes them up. Maybe with enough people that let's say like enough people go and like send them emails or whatever, just with their concerns about what they're doing. Maybe that might help deter them away from this new mission and objective of theirs to do. But only time will tell exactly.
And back to the John Legere thing, like I said, I don't understand him either because I think he acts childish
Yeah,
towards people.
I agree with you
And
there. I like honestly on that whole note with him. Me and a couple of my friends, we had this little discussion. We were talking about it because they like they're T-Mobile users, and like every time like he has his keynotes where he talks about their uncarrier thing, and they always come at me with the uncarrier thing, like, oh, did you know that he said that this is gonna come to T-Mobile and T-Mobile's gonna do things this way? And it's like, yeah, like the idea is great, but how he handles himself, especially on Twitter, is yeah, definitely you can consider childish. But I think mostly it's just the fact that when you look over the past couple of years and how like there were deals with AT&T that was supposed to acquire T-Mobile, and then that didn't happen, and then everyone's fear with Sprint supposedly trying to make a bid for them, and that didn't happen. So it's you know, he wanted to get rid of like T-Mobile and hand it off and just be done with it. And with every chance that he got to actually sell it, the deals never went through. So I mean, where he's at right now, where he puts this front that he's challenging all these other companies. When people kind of look through it now, like it's phony because you're struggling hard to compete with other companies, but you were willing to sell off your company. What that's the whole confusion with a lot of people, at least for me.
I mean, Another thing, Sprint. I mean, Sprint's not that good either. But the reason why I like Sprint is because of the prices. I'm actually leaving Virgin Mobile, the Sprint company, later on this year to go to Cricket because I cannot get any reception where I live now.
Yeah.
But the thing about the MVNOs boost, I don't know if I said this in the last video, but eventually I'm moving to the iPhone. I'm gonna retire this phone and put it in the treasure drawer.
Yeah.
T-Mobile has no more iPhones. The latest one they had was the iPhone 5S, and that's kind of, in my opinion, I mean it's an awesome phone, but it's kind of dated to me.
Yeah.
Um, Question: do you know why they're like getting rid of? It's not even just the iPhone. Some of the other phones are going out of stock, and like they're staying out of stock. They're not getting more stock on them. Like some of their phones are going away.
I really couldn't tell you why on that one. Um, the only thing that I've really heard about anything that has to do with the iPhone would be the 6S, the 6 Plus S, and the 6C that's supposed to be coming later this year.
Yeah,
And
they're
like the
naming.
6C is like, yeah, like the 6C is like the same size, I guess. Like the way they compared it, it's pretty much the 5S. It's really what they're saying. It's like a
Yeah.
4-inch display. That's the only thing I've heard about it. Um,
Apple's naming schemes are horrible. And the Apple Watch, $17,000. What do you think about that?
Ah, dude, I did a rap video on that already. I mean, it's not just Apple, because like these days, I mean, you know, Samsung is taking a page out of their book. I don't know if you saw that. What was it? The Galaxy S6 Edge that was like 2,500 because
Oh
it's
yeah, I've seen it.
gold. Yeah. It's again, Apple sets a trend, and then other companies are trying to lean towards that. But I think building phones like that to me is idiotic. Because I mean, first of all, if you have like the Apple Watch, let's say you have the Apple Watch, most people know about it. Like the Apple Watch Edition is going to be high price, 17,000, roughly about, like, even up to 20, depending on where you buy it. So you're walking around with a $20,000 watch, and people that tend to look at that, and if someone wanted to rob you for it,
You're
I
kind
mean,
of out of
yeah,
luck.
yeah, well, I mean, you're asking for it. If you're walking with a $17,000 watch, you're really asking for it. Like most people who wear like 17,000 to even $150,000 watches, they kind of live in like Hollywood, or out that way where it's like a community that is really watched because there's a lot of wealth. But like here in Phoenix, like if where I live, if someone wants to walk around with a $17,000 watch, they get robbed. I mean, I was robbed at gunpoint for my ZTE Max, and that was just because I was talking on it. You know,
That's
they probably
crazy.
thought it was. Yeah, I figured they probably thought it was the iPhone 6 Plus just because the way the back looks. So they probably like, oh, that's an iPhone. Then they robbed me at gunpoint, took it, and probably were pissed off that it wasn't.
Yeah,
But
and then and that's another thing. iPhone is the trendsetter. I seen that most people tend to steal iPhones more than Samsung phones. Samsung phones is like a secondary thing to steal. I don't know why people steal it. Maybe it's because I mean the phone's like $800-900 for no reason at all. Um, but it's the trendsetter. Everyone wants it, or everyone has it, and everyone wants to have it.
yeah, I agree with you there. I think, and that's what my girlfriend was saying. She was like, they probably thought, because I mean, like the time that I got robbed was like in like late December last year, and like the iPhone 6 Plus was just starting to pick up at the end of last year. So they probably thought it was that. But I mean, just by that right there is like a prime example of why, like, even creating a device like a Samsung device that's $2,500. I mean, it's just not worth carrying around, especially that reason, and then of course like damage to the device itself. I mean, that's another big one. You really risk dropping a phone and cracking the screen on a $2,500 phone. Much less of another device is like say 8-9,000. Depending on the build quality and what they use to build it. Like if they use gold, diamonds, or whatever they want to put in it. You're like, okay, people drop their phones. I mean, I see people walk around with smashed up screens and they're still texting on it and
Mhm.
searching on it. It's like, I just think it's just a real bad move to build tech at that kind of price. It's just no.
And, and the thing with those $2,500 phones, like the Galaxy S6 Edge with the gold on it, and then you watch Tech Rax's channel.
No, never
He
seen it.
Tech Rax is kind of like a channel where they intentionally, I think they get paid a lot of money because they intentionally break phones and then get a new one the next day. But like phones like the iPhone 6 Plus or the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, it's just the same phone. It just has gold on the back. And I understand what you talk about, people even walking around with shattered screens still texting on them because, I mean, like you said, they're expensive to fix.
Yeah.
Very expensive to fix.
I don't know. I want to shake the hand of somebody who is not like a celebrity in any way, who's walking around with either like the S6 Edge with the gold or even the Apple Watch edition and they spent like maybe 18, 19,000 with tax included. Like I just want to shake that person's hand. Just like you
I
are brave. You are brave to buy something like that, walk around. I mean, not just the fact that I'm getting robbed if anyone tried to, but just even the fact of it getting damaged. Like my heart would like literally like sink if I had an Apple Watch that cost that much, and then I did something that accidentally broke it. So it's like, well, there went $17,000 down the drain. Like, it's
yeah
not worth it.
would drop if that happened.
Yeah.
But let's on to the S3. I kind of want to talk about this as an update to the Galaxy S3. I had to get a new battery. Um, the standard 2100 milliamp power battery kind of died last night. Not last night, a couple nights ago. And
uh,
I had a crazy thing about the S3 is this uses the same battery as the Victory's battery. So I had to use the battery out of my Victory in here, and that's already kind of dead. So I went online to Amazon, and for you that watch What Would Josh Do, he did a video on the Galaxy S3 and the Galaxy S4 about the Anker 2000 milliamp power battery. Um, so I was like, it's kind of dope. So I went on Amazon a couple nights ago. I went on Amazon. The battery's normally $63. I got this thing for $29 and purchased it. When I got the battery, it was at 52%, and that's standard for most cell phone batteries when you buy a new cell phone or when you buy a new battery. Moderately to heavy usage. By the time I was done, I got at least almost 5 hours. My phone was on like 10%. I was surprised because within an hour on my S3 battery, the standard one, it would have been dead. And
yeah.
that's old phone. I mean, older phone. It's not an old phone. I mean, a lot of people still have this phone. But for a phone this old, still kick it. Like, for example, I'm running the Carbon ROM, KitKat 4.4.4. And this phone, when it released, it had a dual core processor. Nowadays, dual core processors are obsolete. Um, this phone still flies without hesitation. I mean, it's no Galaxy S6, it's no Note 4, it's no HTC One M9, but you know, it still gets the job done. It still flies. Every now and then, it will still stutter, but this is an awesome phone. I mean, on Virgin Mobile and Boost Mobile, seeing what year we're in, but it's still an awesome phone.
That is dope, dude. That case looks pretty cool. I mean, when you sent me the picture on Hangouts, I was looking at it. I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
I mean, I was
wow,
talking to Chin, and he
yeah.
said he wouldn't want a thick case on the phone. And I was like, I really don't care about that. I care about battery life. I mean, look at this thing. This thing's a brick, and it's really heavy. But seeing that it has 7,200 milliamp powers, the size of the case went past my head. I was like, I have to have it.
That's a lot of battery too, especially. I think even till today, where like most of the flagship devices don't even touch near that point yet.
It's like the Droid Turbo, I think, is like 4200, and it's
Yeah,
still nowhere near 7200. And like I tell most of the people, 7200 is near tablet size, maybe even more than some tablets.
yeah. I have to say that.
So
Like my tablet, I think only has I think it's 3500 milliamp. it
3500.
it dies fast, but it's the old tablet. It was last year's model, dual core and everything. So that
The
sucker dies under
the
like 3
RCA
hours.
tablet, right? Sorry
Yeah,
for interrupting. Yeah,
no,
mine dies pretty quick too.
yeah. I mean, and they don't have cases like that for that tablet where you could even extend the battery life on it. So, sucks.
Sold
um,
millions of units in its first year, so
oh
that's
yeah,
why it
so
has all the accessories.
yeah, the S3 was like, oh man, I remember when it first came out because I had the S2 Epic 4G Touch on Virgin Mobile, and I remember I was like all happy with mine, and then like the S3 had already been out already, but then everywhere I was at in the city, like if I would go somewhere, like you see someone the S3 and they're all smiling and happy using it, and I'm like, I got last year's model, like. Oh my god! I look at people and like they're just so happy with it. Like the S3 was super popular. It's like all my friends were trying to get, and like people that like I would see down the street, like they would go in stores, and I would go into the store and pay my bill, and I'd see them, and that's exactly what they're talking about is getting like an S3, and I'm like, wow, that I knew that phone was going to be so popular, and then any store that I go to, whether I go to a Walmart, if I go to Target, like they still carry like accessories, cases, and stuff like that for the S3. Like it's as highly popular as the iPhone is when it comes to accessories found in local retail stores.
But over time, it's kind of died down because I mean, all the Samsung phones look the same now. The S4 was kind of a disappointment. The S5 was a flop. Honestly, I gotta say that being a huge Samsung fan, S5 was a flop. And then the S6, I mean, yeah, we see something new with the Edge, but once you use the regular S6, yeah, TouchWiz has toned down a little bit. New design, it's all metal, it's all glass now, but once you get deep into the S6, in my opinion, the way I've seen it, I think it's still the same.
Well,
Three,
then
I mean, huh?
I got a good question. I'm going to ask you on that. The S6, no removable battery, no expandable memory. What's your thoughts?
I knew you were gonna get to that. Honestly, like I said, I like the S6, S6 Edge. I have to have, I don't have, actually I do, a removable battery. For SD card expansion is mandatory for me. All my ROMs, all my backups and everything are on my micro SD card, and if I can't have that, it's gonna kind of suck. If I want to root a phone and restore something onto the phone or flash something onto the phone, I'm gonna have to plug it into the or USB OTG, but that's kind of convenient for me. I'm gonna have to plug it into the computer. Hold on, this computer's acting crazy.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I get that a lot from like people that like chat with me. They're super upset with the S6 having no expandable memory. I mean, the battery thing, most people say they can handle. They can always connect one of those power packs to it and let it charge up. But the expandable memory is what kills it for a lot of people because cloud is not exactly where we need it to be just yet. And even doing like a OTG USB expansion, some people are just a little sketchy about that too. So
All right, and sorry everybody, but Rob, I'm gonna have to end this soon. I have to go somewhere in a little bit. It
that's
kind of
good.
sucks.
No, we could do it again sometime, But I'm glad I was able to get you on the show, and same goes with all my super geeks out there that are in that circle. If you guys ever want to come on, just let me know, and I'll find time to get you guys on. But yeah, dude, thanks for being on and giving us some insight, especially with the S3.
All right, thank you. In next video, I want to talk to you about the HTC One M9 and how the executive PC shortly after the One M9 was announced.
All
And
right, well,
Chin, this one's for you because I know you love HTC.
Yeah, he's been asking me about the 1M9, and I haven't kept up with it, so I can't give him an opinion on it. And he just keeps asking. So,
Yeah, I keep up sort of with the 1M9, and I find it a disappointment. So that's what we're going to talk about in the next video.
all right. Well, yeah, we'll set up a time to do episode 3, and we'll talk about that. So, but we're gonna end it for now, guys. So thanks for tuning in, and those who see this futurely, that like button to let me know you guys enjoyed it. Um, give a shout out to Ron for being on the show, and subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you guys next time.
All right, peace.